Coming to you from beautiful downtown Santa Rosa, this is the Backstage Sonoma podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Hi, I'm Steve Roby. Welcome to Backstage Sonoma. Today we have the honor of speaking with the legendary Laurie Lewis, known for her passionate voice and cutting-edge contributions to bluegrass, folk, and Americana. Laurie has influenced generations of musicians with her artistry and resilience. In today's episode, we'll discuss her latest release, Trees, and the challenges of creating music without her longtime partner, Tom Rozum. We'll hear how she's leading her band, The Right Hands, into a new chapter as a powerful four-piece. Laurie will also share her insights into the stories behind songs like Just a Little Ways Down the Road and Rock the Pain Away. Let's kick things off with Hound Dog Blues by Laurie Lewis here on Backstage Sonoma.
You went away and left me here with your old hound. You went away and left me here with your old hound. And the only thing he's good for is sleeping and laying around. Your old hound dog sure is a lot like you. Your old hound dog sure is a lot like you. Every time I see him, I always get the hound dog blues. Hound dog blues. Can't snap them fly. I said, your old hound dog, well, he sure can't snap them fly. He can roll them off his tongue just as easy as he told them lies. Your old hound dog sure is a lot like you. I said, your old hound dog sure is a lot like you. Every time I see him, I always get the hound dog blues. Gives a man the wobble he needs. That Johnson City liquor, it gives a man the wobble he needs. I swear you was a wobbling that night you walked out on me. Hound Dog Blues. Does what a dog will do. I said he's my old hound dog, and he does what a dog will do. But at least he's got a license, and that's more than I can say about you. 'Cause your old hound dog sure is a lot like you. A lot like you. Every time I see him, I always get the
That was Hound Dog Blues by Laurie Lewis. It comes from her current album, Trees, which is available now. Laurie is my guest today and joins me now. Hey, Laurie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Steven. It's great to be here.
So glad to have you here, too. Hey, Laurie, we have a lot of new listeners to your music in our audience. We play a variety of different genres of music. How would you describe your unique sound and musical style for those new to your music?
It's always difficult to describe what I do, I think, and it has frustrated record companies for years. But I think the best succinct answer is the same way I would describe much of Bill Monroe's music, which is singer-songwriter with string band. And so I have classic bluegrass instrumentation, guitar, bass, fiddle, and banjo in the band.
Mm-hmm.
But the music that we play, while it is highly influenced and has deep roots in traditional rural American music, it's got a lot of originals.
Yeah.
And people don't come to my shows expecting to hear Rocky Top or something like that. They come what we have to say, I think.
Yeah. You've been a foundational figure in bluegrass, folk, and Americana scenes for nearly 40 years. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
What are some of the most memorable moments or achievements in your career so far? Can you pick out one from those years of performing?
Oh, boy. Well, I really can't. There have been so many and on so many different levels. I feel like sometimes the best performance has been an intimate house concert or something, but also I've stood on the stage many times on the Grand Ole Opry and played at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, and I've toured internationally. And just recently, I received the Distinguished Achievement Award from the International Bluegrass Music Association. And that was really surprising to be chosen for that, and quite an honor. And it was really a thrill.
Congratulations. How did that feel? How did that honor feel for you?
Well, it was really bittersweet in a way because, mostly sweet, but I felt in my speech that I needed to give thanks to lots of different people. And one of them that I said I would share the honor with is Tom Rozum, who's been my music companion for the last, 40 years, almost 40 years, and a wonderful mandolinist and singer. He has Parkinson's and is unable to play anymore, and it's hard for him to tour anymore. It was pretty tearful to talk about that in public and to dedicate the award to him as well.
Let's revisit Tom's contribution in our next segment, but I'd like to know, your music has seamlessly moved between bluegrass, folk, and Americana over the years. How would you say your sound has evolved since your early days?
Oh, well, I think it's gotten more subtle. That's possibly a thing that comes with age. I think I was a pretty brash singer when I started out, but over the years, my voice did what most people's voices do. It deepened, and I started really thinking much more about conveying the lyric than listening to what I could do with my voice. My approach to singing is definitely more subtle than it used to be. And the songs, I have less worry about them fitting into any sort of particular category. They're songs. And luckily, my band loves to play them.
Lovely, yeah. Well, let's talk about the current album, Trees, and I'm going to play a track in just a moment called Just a Little Ways Down the Road. What can you share about this album? Is there an overall theme? And what can you tell us about the track, Just a Little Ways Down the Road?
I think the overall theme is one of you wouldn't know it from having heard Hound Dog Blues at the beginning.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dealing with loss in my life and in the life of the planet. And there's also a lot of joy, I think, in reveling in what we have and friends and family and the natural world all around us. And I think a lot also hope. The title cut, Trees, which I don't think we're going to play today, is an a cappella song that talks about, it's from the point of view of the trees, and it's about just waiting for humans to move out of the way so that they can take over again. Which I find a really hopeful scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The American chestnut trees on the Appalachian region are starting to come back a little bit. They were
Nice.
wiped out by the Chinese chestnut blight and by the U.S. Forest Service. But they start coming up every year, and people have been working with trying to help them overcome the chestnut blight. And I heard recently that there's quite a bit of success. So we might see that in our lifetimes.
That's one step forward. We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Well, can you tell me about the song Just a Little Ways Down the Road?
Oh, it's about in a nutshell, it's the healthful benefits of getting out and taking a walk, not just physically, but mentally. It was inspired by a John Muir quote, which I'm going to paraphrase, but it's in the end of the first verse. It says something about he was having a bad day and he got out and decided to take a walk. And then he decided to stay out because he discovered that going out was coming in. I mean, in other words, getting in touch with himself and his feelings and helping him through that. So that was my jumping off point. It's just a romp and a frolic, and it gives me a chance to listen to Brandon Godwin playing his beautiful fiddle.
All right. Well, let's take a little musical walk, if you will, with Laurie Lewis. This is Just a Little Ways Down the Road, and you're listening to Backstage Sonoma.
Now every time I get the blues, I put on my walking shoes and I find a trail, for I've determined that going out is coming in. Just a little ways down the road, just a little ways down the road. Where did I come from? Where will I go? Just a little ways down the road. Yesterday I drove an old beat-up Chevrolet, but I threw a rod in the crankshaft and been riding Shank's mare ever since. Just a little ways down the road, just a little ways down the road. Where did I come from? Where will I go? Just a little ways down the road. That mountaintop, and if the weather's good and I like the view, I might just sit and wait on you. From way up here at the top of the hill, I see another higher still. So if you're coming, don't be slow, for the mountains are calling and I must go. Just a little ways down the road, just a little ways down the road. Where did I come from? Where will I go? Just a little ways down the road.
That was Laurie Lewis with Just a Little Ways Down the Road. It's off her current release, Trees, which is available now. Laurie is my guest today. Laurie, with your band, The Right Hands, continuing as a strong four-piece, what can fans expect from your upcoming recordings? Are there any surprises or new directions you're excited about?
Well, I think there will be some surprising songs on the new album. There's a lot of dealing with, subject matter-wise, the same sorts of things that people might hear from me, which is a real love and connection with the natural world around us, and some reveling in that, and some hard looks at what we humans are doing to the landscape. But aside from that, I love singing with George Guthrie and Hazy Siako, and there's lots of beautiful harmony singing on this album, and some great old-time song that we heard, a couple of them that we learned from Doc Watson, and just such a great little quartet that I have. We just thought we would try and do an album where everything that we do can be replicated exactly on stage. So no fancy overdubs, no overlays of special guest stars, nothing like that. Just the music.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the best.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, let's revisit talking about your longtime musical partner, Tom Rozum, and his involvement with this album. What was the process like creating this album without him actively playing mandolin? And how did his singing and beautiful cover artwork shape the final product?
Oh, well, the cover art is, of course, self-explanatory. Anybody who sees it loves it. And it's fantastic. He labored really hard on that. We had this idea for it, and he just brought it to fruition in such a magical style, I think. So that has really shaped the album, I would say. But also, his singing. He sings some baritone harmonies with me, and he also sings bass on the title track with George and Hazy, which is pretty great. He's such a versatile, or was such a versatile player, and is such a versatile singer.
How important is it for you to incorporate other art forms into your musical projects?
Well, I'm a little old-fashioned. I did LPs of this album for the first time since, let's see, my last LP came out in, I think, 1989. So this is my first foray back into that. And the reason I did it is because I feel that the artwork is so important to the listening experience. And even with the CD, I mean, it's a beautiful CD design with a booklet and the lyrics, all the lyrics are there. And I like the idea. It doesn't happen that much, I'm afraid, in the real world, but I like the idea of people just sitting down, putting on that LP and listening and reading the liner notes for the 20 minutes it takes to go through a side.
Yeah.
And we don't do that with a CD because a CD is twice that long and it's too hard to sit that long. So I think the second half of a CD doesn't get paid attention to as much as the first half.
Yeah, there's something special about physical media, and I'm from that old school camp that loves to hold something in your hand, appreciate artwork that is of a decent size, and dig into the liner notes and find out who's playing where, maybe where it was recorded, and it just gives the listening experience just raises it to a higher level, I think.
I totally agree. And with streaming these days, you don't have any of that information at your fingertips.
Right.
You have to go search for it somewhere online, and if you're lucky, you can find it.
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for this phrase, but nobody ever asked you to see your MP3 collection like they would your vinyl collection.
That's true.
Well, let's talk about your songwriting process. For example, how did Rock the Pain Away come together?
Oh, boy. Well, that was a hard song. It's definitely inspired by what Tom is going through. And these days, I don't get a whole lot of time to sit with myself and listen to what I have to say in my head, which, of course, one needs as a songwriter. So that one came about when I was on a retreat, and I was just sitting with myself for about 2 weeks, I think. And it started to form. I'll tell you, do you have time for a peculiar story about it?
Absolutely. The stage is yours.
Okay, well, this is a word of warning to all songwriters. Don't do what I did. I keep a folder at my fingertips of song ideas, things I've written down on napkins, on the backs of flyers, on just pieces of paper that I just stuff in this folder until I have time to sit down and really think about completing something.
Yeah.
So when I was working on this song, I looked through that folder and I found this piece of paper with a lyric on it, a verse lyric, which I, of course, thought I had written because it was in my folder and it was in my writing. So I thought, well, you know what? That could be a good second verse for this song. And I was working on it and I switched things around a little bit. I rewrote it a little bit. Before the album came out, it was all recorded. Before the album came out, I did a little live show on KPFA here in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And my friend Kathy Kallick was listening to the radio. And she called me up afterwards, said, oh, it sounded great talking. We were chatting a little bit. And then she said, that song, Rock the Pain Away, I wrote the second verse. And my jaw just dropped, and I just like, oh my God, what did I do? Did I rip off Kathy? And she said, yeah, that's pretty much, a couple of words are changed, but it's pretty much the chorus to the title cut on my album that came out in the 1990s.
Oh.
And I was just mortified and shocked. So I apologized. She said, well, it's okay. You can use it if you want. And I go, no, I'm going to rewrite it. So I got back to the song, and I wrote 2 verses and took out that verse and wrote 2 other verses. And I think it's a better song now. Not that Kathy's lyric wasn't beautiful, but it didn't fit as well as what I later wrote, and it didn't fill out the message of the song as well.
Interesting.
So I managed to rescue it. It would have been just so horrible to hand her a finished ED and then have her say that second verse of that song. I wrote that.
Well, at least you rescued it. Is the original version available, or did that get pulled? Or?
Oh, no, it's not available.
Oh, okay.
I went back, and I don't think we were at the mastering phase yet. So I was able to go back in the studio, record I did some artful editing in my little studio here at home, and added the 2 verses, took out the 1 verse, and it all worked out for the better. But here's what I've learned from that.
Yeah.
And the reason I had those lyrics written down is because when Kathy's album came out, she asked me to sing and play some at her album release party. And I learned that chorus of that song, and that's why I wrote the words down. But I did not write down the title or who wrote it. So if you are out there writing down lyrics, please write down the title of the song and who wrote it, because it could happen to you. It happened to me. Cautionary tale.
That's a great backstory. Thanks for sharing that. That was wonderful. Well, let's play it now.
I hope it never happens again.
Let's play it now. This is Rock the Pain Away. It's Laurie Lewis from her album Trees. Let's hear it now on Backstage Sonoma.
No need to stand so strong and proud. No need to say those words out loud. No need for sugar-coated lies. I see the pain deep in your eyes. Let me hold you for a while and fold you in my arms like a child. And if you could let go, and if you would let me, you know, I would try to rock the pain away. Some people say it just takes time. The storms will pass and the sun will shine. They say the darkest hour precedes the dawn, and you just shoulder your load and soldier on. Let me hold you for a while and fold you in my arms like a child. If you could let go, and if you would let me, you know, I would try to rock the pain away. I would try to rock the pain away. the loss is more than you can stand, reach out to me and I will take your hand. When the sorrow turns your heart to stone, I'll stand by you. You need not be alone. Let me hold you for a while and fold you in my arms like a child. And if you could let go, and if you would let me, you know, I would try to rock the pain away. I would try to rock the pain away.
That's Rock the Pain Away by Laurie Lewis. It comes from her album Trees. Laurie is my guest today. You just hinted at a new album in the works coming in 2025. Can you give us a little more details? Can we expect it? And do you have a working title yet?
Oh, no work. Well, it might be Step Up to the Wheel of Life, although that's a much longer title than I like. I like short titles. So it's Laurie Lewis and the Right Hands, Step Up to the Wheel of Life. I think that's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
But so it probably won't be that. It'd be Wheel of Life.
Okay.
I don't know. We're looking at, or it could be something completely other. And we're looking at probably April or May release.
Yeah.
For it.
So it'll be coming up soon then, I guess.
Yeah.
Any
Springtime.
advanced singles do you have planned or anything like that?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. Just doing my duty as a music journalist here.
Yeah. No, not yet. Not that I can tell you about.
Okay. Laurie, you're set to perform at the Hop Monk Tavern in Novato on December 1st. What can your audience look forward to at that show? Will you be featuring songs from Trees and other songs as well?
Yes, definitely we'll be doing a lot of songs from Trees and a lot of songs from my vast repertoire. I mean, I think 24 albums out, and we're working on the 25th. So there will probably be stuff from the new album that's not out yet and that we're working on. And the band has been playing together all year and just honing our sound and our feel together. And this is going to be our last live performance of the year.
Wow.
So after this, I have to say goodbye to my buddies until February. And I'm sad about that, but we need the break.
Yeah.
And we're coming to the finish line of the year feeling like we're firing on all cylinders. And it's going to be, I think it'll be a beautiful night.
Great. And let me remind our listeners, Laurie Lewis and the Right Hands will perform at the Hop Monk Tavern in Novato on Sunday, December 1st at 7 p.m. Tickets are available now at kcturnerpresents.com. And be sure to stop by Laurie's website for the latest music and tour schedule. Go to laurielewis.com.
Steven, I just have one last little thing to say, which is that I am so happy to be playing for K.C. Turner up there. He has just livened up the Sonoma music scene so much, and I'm just a fan of all the stuff he's done, and I'm happy to be a little part of it. And I hope we can get people out.
Yeah, he sure does. He does a wonderful job and a great variety of music there, too.
Yes.
A lot of the performers there have been on our show, so it's a great opportunity to share songs and stories from those great folks like you coming through Novato.
Well, thank you.
Well, Laurie, I hate to say goodbye, but I hope you can stop by the show again.
I hope so, too. Thank you so much for spending the time with me.
Backstage Sonoma, we'll be right back.
Hey musicians, Would you like to be a guest and promote your upcoming concert and latest release? It's easy. Just email the host at backstagesonoma@gmail.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Thanks for listening to the Backstage Sonoma podcast. Join us next time for more great interviews and music from local and touring musicians. You can find us on the web at backstagesonoma.com.